I want to pivot. Not only do I want to talk about Oakland, I want to talk about the whole state of California. California is an absolute dump. Let me say that again for the people in the back. California is an absolute dump. LA, Skid Row, Oakland, Sacramento, San Francisco. Every day I keep getting all of this stuff. And you know what's so tripped out? Is being taken over by crime and homelessness. Crime and homelessness. You know, I watched this video, this movie a long time ago, and it was with my dog, Kurt Russell, I think, and it was called Escape from LA. And his name in that was Snake Plissken. Did y'all know that Gavin Newsome, largely the thing that he ran on? And you right, Outpost, you said, but the weather. Man, that's the only thing that they got going on there. I had so much content to go over and try to mine through of what it is that I wanted to share with you guys when it comes to California. Because at first I was just going to talk about Oakland. But now I decided to just roll out with California. And I had so much content. Did you know that they already got wildfires that's raging over in California? I'm going to share that with y'all tomorrow. We're going to go over that tomorrow in Quick Hits. I'll add that into it. But California is wild. But they have the best year-round weather. You are absolutely right. And that's the saving grace. That is the main reason why everybody continues to move over to California. It's not about the money. It's not about the jobs. It's not about the culture. It's not about any of that. It's about the fact that they have weather year-round that is absolutely phenomenal. But they absolutely ruined the whole state, and Gavin Newsome is at the forefront of it. Let me give you a few examples of what you can expect if you decide that you want to come over here from the migrant crisis before Biden completely closes off the borders up until election time, and you decide that you want to live over there. Let's say, for example, you're a rideshare driver, and you pick up a passenger, and you decide that you want to drop them off at their location. This is what you can expect over in California.
We begin with that rideshare driver who shot a man accused of brutally beating a woman. Thank you so much for being with us, everybody. I'm Michael Brownlee.
And I'm Annabelle Sedano in for Carolyn.
Annabelle.
Today, that driver is sharing his story. NBC4's Hetty Chang is live in Stanton, where that assault took place. Hetty.
Yeah, Michael and Annabelle, Taran Sanders says this was fight or flight. He was not going to let this woman die. That's how brutal he says the attack was here. He was dropping off a passenger here in this area last night when he says he noticed a man acting really strangely, stripping off all of his clothes. That's when he says he saw the man approach the woman near the dumpsters.
Y'all got a lot of confidence in these streets. Y'all must be really slanging it out here. Real talk. Y'all got a lot of confidence. Hold on. I got to replay that because I need to make sure I heard what I thought I heard.
He says the attack was here. He was dropping off a passenger here in this area last night when he says he noticed a man acting really strangely, stripping off all of his clothes. That's when he says he saw the man approach the woman near the dumpsters.
What kind of demons is running around in these streets over there in Ohio, Chicago, and California? You telling me that you pull up, you a rideshare driver, you drop a woman off at a location. Soon as she get out the car, you see a man go, oof, oof. And he just take off all of his clothes right there in the streets. And then he start walking over to you to the dumpster. What do you do? What do you do? How do you handle that type of situation? You see a man and he just start walking over to you at the dumpster. Whew. It's a demon out here. It's a beat your A, take my clothes off and take what I want demon running around in these streets right now. Real talk.
You can see this neighbor startled when she hears a loud single gunshot just outside her backyard. This is the man who fired that shot. Taran Sanders explains it was a warning shot for the man he says he saw who was completely naked attacking a woman near the dumpster.
This female was defenseless.
He should have put a hole in that man, right in his head, 2 to the chest.
He began to like brutally beat her. He was kneeing her, he was kneeing her. He was slamming her head against the ground.
Sanders says he's an Uber driver and witnessed the assault as he was dropping off his passenger on Custer Way in this condo community near Catella and Knott just before 8 last night. Sanders says that warning shot did not stop the man's rampage. He says the man was acting very erratic and yelling about religion.
He charges at the vehicle, jumps on to the windshield. And then he proceeds to continue to beat on the glass. And the impact that he was hitting the glass with, I knew eventually he was going to break. I recognized that he wasn't going to stop. I took aim and I dropped him.
Sanders shot the man once.
Let me give a round of applause for this unsung hero that never get their flowers. Let me give a round of applause for this unsung hero that took out one of Constantine's enemies
in the neck and called 911.
He could have potentially killed that woman.
He was questioned by investigators but later released. The man he shot, a 20-year-old who lives in the area, was rushed to the hospital where he's in critical but stable condition. Sanders says he has no regrets about what he did.
I just reacted. I believe in fight or flight, and I wasn't about to take flight and let her, go through what she was going through. So.
Neighbors also say they're glad he was here.
He was here in the right team, the right place, right time to protect that woman.
That's crazy.
It was from the heart. It was something that, I felt needed to be done.
Investigators tell us the woman who was attacked is 60 years old. She was treated for minor injuries here at the scene last night. She did not need to go to the hospital. As for Sanders, it's going to be up to the Orange County District Attorney's Office to decide whether he faces any charges related to the shooting.
That's so stupid. Shut the piss up. Ain't no way in the world that this man should ever be charged for shooting a dude that was beating the brakes off of a 60-year-old. And for some reason, it's like the 60-plus and year old and older are the ones that's really being attacked the most. But that's not the only thing that's happening over in California. Over in Oakland, they can't even pave the streets. The street crews that's fixing the streets is basically saying we don't even want to pave the streets anymore because it's too dangerous and our safety is a high concern over in Oakland, California.
An East Bay resident now sounding the alarm after a contractor stopped repaving a street after claims that the neighborhood was just too dangerous. So this unfinished work has now created more problems. There's potholes and exposed gravel. Crown 4's Teresa Stasio has the story.
Good for him.
I see there are plenty of children in our neighborhood that are walking or riding bikes and playing and, walking down the sidewalk. And it's very dangerous right now.
That's Sherry Ungrano talking about this. Large potholes littering Colorado's Street in the Sobrani Park neighborhood in Oakland. There are also potholes on Akalani's Drive and Catrone Drive. She explains it all started in March.
At the end of April, there was signage saying that on 5-5 and 5-6 there would be work. So during those days, they came and tore up the existing pavement to get it ready to be repaved.
But Ungrano says that when the day came for workers to show up and repave the roads, they were a no-show.
So I referred back to the public notice. I found the project manager and I reached out to him on 5/28. And that's when he let me know that the project was suspended indefinitely because the contractor felt unsafe performing work in East Oakland and was not going to complete the project until the city of Oakland can guarantee a safe work environment for them.
And good for him. Let me give him a round of applause. And good for him. Good for him for standing up for his safety, because remember y'all said y'all own these streets. You can't pave these streets. You can't walk down these streets. You can't take nobody down the streets. It's people that's out here getting naked and kneeing 60-year-olds and throwing their head into the dumpster. Yeah, good for him for placing his safety as a priority before he paved y'all streets. He want the city to guarantee that he not going to get his head knocked off and his equipment stolen because it's so raucous and crazy over there in California, specifically in East Oakland.
So
And Grano says that putting the whole project on pause and forcing residents to deal with the mess seems wrong.
More and more gravel
It ain't wrong.
and rocks being kicked up every day, every time the bus passes
Your
by.
fault. Your fault.
You know, I did pose that question to the project manager engineer. What happens if my tires get popped?
Oh,
You
well.
know, and all he could do was tell me to submit a request to the city for reimbursement. I would just like the streets repaved as soon as possible. I don't think it's fair to anybody in the community to have this indefinitely suspended or dragged out for
How come nobody is holding the criminals accountable?
another month.
Cronfar reached out to the project engineer, the Oakland Public Works Department, the mayor's office, council member Reed, whose district covers the area, as well as the city's director of communications. We have not heard anything back.
You're never going to hear anything from a legislator when it comes to doing the thing that's in the best interest of the people.
Welcome back. Look at this. Safety concerns in Rancho Park after homeless encampments here take over an empty 99-cent store parking lot. And not only are the encampments spilling into nearby neighborhoods, but as KCAL News reporter Nick Zechevich explains, those who live nearby say they're also seeing an increase in crime.
My daughter goes, "Dad, somebody's in your car."
It's disgusting. The debris is unconscionable.
Hey, remember when a while ago, a couple months ago, that I was reporting to you guys and I said that, yo, all of the 99-cent stores is going to be closing over in California and across the nation because they can't afford to be able to stay open, and all of the workers was compliant or crying and complaining and saying, oh my God, we don't want our 99-cent store to close and all of this stuff. Remember when I was telling y'all about that? Well, guess what? As soon as it closed, and this is one of the reasons why you can't have unoccupied structures, why it's important for legislators to make sure that they always, put things in the best interest of the people as far as jobs, businesses, working with small businesses, making sure that you have a vibrant city, because where more people is, the less likely it is for you to have this type of situation. The minute, and I mean literally the minute that they closed the doors, was when people started taking over what was going on, or what was, all of the surrounding areas and the 99-cent store, and they basically made it a homeless encampment. They became engineers. Shout out to Leland Brown. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. They became engineers, and then the first thing that they did is around the entrances and around the window, they went, brought all of their stuff. I don't know where they get all of this stuff from in order to bring it overnight. They brought all of their stuff. They put up some tarps, some tents, and that's where they're going to be sleeping. California is garbage, bro. Absolutely garbage. I remember when Gavin Newsome, said he was running to become the governor of California. And then a year ago, he reasserted himself and said that he was going to be combating homelessness. Every single year, Gavin Newsome says that he's going to fix homelessness. Every year, they've thrown like $28 billion towards fixing homelessness. And they've never been able to fix it. I'm looking for it right now. Let me play this while I look for it.
A neighborhood with 99 problems. Makeshift shelters in what is now this gutted 99-cent store parking lot.
The living conditions for the people on the street are horrendous. The fact that they're on the street, it's gotten to another level.
Neighbors saying the illicit activity this encampment has attracted is now spreading.
My main concern is drug use. I just walked out with my dog and I see like two people smoking crack.
99-cent stores recently announced the closing of all of their stores, beginning what the company said was an orderly winding down of operations. But people living in this neighborhood say things are all but orderly.
Every now and then we get like encampments on like in front of the driveways.
People sleeping in front of our house.
These residents saying it's serving as a home base for criminal activity.
They came into my car, took off, my alarm went off. We ran outside, he took off. I chased him down. He went right over the 99-cent store.
Bankruptcy, a long and oftentimes drawn-out process, and as all that plays out, this property remains unattended. The squatters undeterred, and residents left feeling hopeless.
I want to live like that. You know, I don't want to look at my cameras all the time, and that's what I feel like I'm doing.
The city's responsibility, the 99-cent store, the people who own that lot, someone's got to take care of that.
And that someone technically is the city. Behind me is a sign reading that this is a special enforcement zone, meaning all are prohibited from sitting, sleeping, or leaving their personal items in the public right-of-way in this area.
Politicians are saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but nothing has changed. It wasn't like this when we moved in. Nothing like this was happening.
It was beautiful. It was a walking neighborhood. We could walk to the mall, to the restaurants, to the movie theater. It's all gone. It's all gone. I don't feel safe. I don't walk here anymore.
I mean, I feel for the homeless population, but I also feel for us that are paying taxes. So we're losing in every case.
In Rancho Park, Nick Zechevich, KCAL News.
This was 14 years ago. I just so happened to be able to pull this up. This is when he was a mayor. Mayor Gavin Newsome, that was standing on the idea. One of the major platforms that he ran on over in California was that he was going to solve for homelessness. Oh, man. I wasn't able to pull it up. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up something else. Let me see if I can get something else popping over here. Give me a second. His whole campaign was running on fixing homelessness and that it was easy to solve. Man, I wish I can pull this up. For some reason, it's not letting me pull up the super old stuff. It's not letting me pull up the super old stuff from when he was first campaigning and running on homelessness. See, I remember all of these people. I remember saying, oh, they finally got the guy with the slick hair. And he's saying that he gonna fix homelessness. It's not letting me pull it up. But anyways, California is now being held accountable by Kevin O'Leary, that's basically breaking down exactly why California is now a basket case and how bad Gavin Newsome has fumbled the whole entire state and is basically falling into chaos. Check it out.
Thank you, Stuart.
Now, look who's going to stay with me, sitting next to me for the next hour, the man himself, Kevin O'Leary. Kevin, it's great to have you with us.
Great to be here, Stuart.
You've got a kind of a story you want to tell me about Newsome?
Yes. Last year's press dinner in Washington, D.C., I generally go there for the press scrum. It's a good place to schmooze around media. And I met him for the first time. Very charismatic guy. Really enjoyed it. And I took a selfie with him. I didn't consult any of my social media people or anything, and then I posted it. And then I got on a plane without internet. By the time I landed, 2.5 hours later, I had lost 1,130 followers.
Really?
And the rage, because I put in the post, it's been taken down since, believe me, but I talked about him managing one of the largest economies on earth and what a challenging job that must be. But I kind of like the guy. He has a lot of work to do, because if that's the kind of reaction you get from a diverse base like I have across all these different platforms, they were so pissed. I have never seen anything like it. I don't think he's got to do a lot of work, because California, everybody knows, is a basket case. I would never invest there. When I look at companies in the startup or private equity phase, I say, look, I'm happy to do it. We got to move to Texas, Florida, North Dakota, Montana, maybe Oklahoma. We can't stay here because it's not in business. California is not in business. Right. And San Francisco is a war zone.
I don't see how he could become the president of the United States with a track record like that.
Anything can happen, but I mean, I rest my
case. I'm going to read that super chat shortly, Courtney Morgan.
Let's talk the markets for a second. What's with these interests?
Forget all of that. I'm going to read this super chat really quickly. I want this to be a part of it. I'm going to make sure that this is a part of the clip. Courtney Morgan II said, Anton, how would you fix California? Ooh, wee. If I was the governor of California, if I was the governor of California, all right, so let me tell you how I will fix California. It's not as easy as just putting a very, very simple fix in and saying, oh, well, we got to get tough on crime. No, it's got to be a whole lot of things that come along with it, right? Because one of the problems in California is the cost of living is too high, but then at the same time, you can't really put the genie back in the bottle. So one thing that you can't do is you can't say, well, I'm going to roll back minimum wage. Once it's out there, you can't really do anything for it. So the first thing that you got to do is freeze everything in place so that you don't continuously have artificial inflation that is basically being implemented by legislators. This is just my opinion. This is what I would stand on, right? That's the first thing that you got to do is you got to freeze anything that continues to contribute to whatever it is that's happening. The second thing that you got to do is you got to solve for the budget crisis, because California is basically losing money every single day and that they're operating at a budget deficit, and more people are leaving than they are coming into it, especially those that are high earners that pay a lot of the taxes and a lot of the property taxes and what contributes into the budget. And so you got to solve for the budget crisis. One of the ways that you got to solve for the budget crisis is that you got to basically almost literally cut off social services. Now, you can't cut off social services right away because you just can't just cut it off at the drop of a dime. But you got to start to pare down and start to institute rules in place that basically says we cannot have social services on here for a long time. Then you have to invest more in not only what's going on as far as the legislative branches, because even if you empower the police force, it's very difficult for you to empower the police force while not at the same time making sure that you have laws that are conducive to supporting the police. Because if they just keep arresting and then we just keep releasing criminals out onto the street, then you're just going to keep having the same problem over and over again. So you got to solve for the housing crisis, which means that you got to make sure that things go down. You got to lower property taxes while at the same time contributing to the basis. So then you got to go on a recruiting phase to make sure that you have big businesses wanting to stay and reinvest back into California, which makes sure that it's conducive. And then at the same time, you got to get people on the tax rolls. So how do you then increase the taxes or increase the amount of money that you have going into the coffers while you also having money going out? Because then you start to create a doom loop. The doom loop is that the deficit can't be stemmed by just solving for the budget crisis 1 year or 2 years. You got to start to increase tax rolls while limiting the amount of money that you have to keep increasing in order to have people keep having this doom loop, right? So one of the things that you have to do is not only recruit more workers, but you got to get all of these immigrants on the tax rolls. Why? So that they can pay taxes to continue to increase and not have a doom loop when it comes to the budget. Then you got to start working with businesses. Then you got to start empowering the police. It's three main things for a city, let alone a state, in order for it to be productive and conducive. Safety, schools and education, right? Safety, schools and education, public transportation. People need to be able to get to work. They need to be able to lower their costs while at the same time contributing to the tax rolls. So it's so much that you have to start to deal with when it comes to everything and making sure that you solve for the budget crisis. You then have to start tackling homelessness. And you also have to keep incentivizing people to come over to your state, because you can't just keep on depending on good weather in order for people to do it. And you have to stop you got to somehow solve for the artificial inflation that comes along with keep trying to say that, well, everybody is supposed to have minimum wage. And unfortunately, I don't think that I will be able to do a good job. And the reason that I don't think that I will be able to do a good job is because while you're also having to solve for this, because it will be a lot of pain before it comes to the sunshine, I will probably be a one-term governor, because I wouldn't be able to effectively sell to people that they have to go through the pain in order to get to the sunshine. And that's one of the things that politicians are able to easily do, is they're able to easily sell to people, hey, look, I got minimum wage. They're able to sell to you to get these short wins. Meanwhile, your neighborhoods is falling apart. Police can't do their job. Homelessness is running rampant. Social services is crazy. You're throwing a whole bunch of money over into the homelessness crisis, but you're not getting no results as a result of it. And so the balance in being a public servant, or the balance in being an executive, because that's basically what the governor and these mayors are, is you have to sell a rosy picture in the future while allowing people to go through the uncomfortable times that's ultimately going to solve for the crisis that's happening in the state. And it's very difficult to do, because then you got to get the insurance companies back on board because they leave in California. And you got to solve for the homelessness crisis. And then you have to also deal with the wildfires that's over there. So it's a very, very tough job, but it's not a job for the weak. It's not a job to continue to just sell to people without giving them anything that's going to help them. You got to continue to incentivize people to want to stay there. And it can't just be because of the weather, or you just on the West Coast. It's a lot that goes into it, in my personal opinion. So it would just have to be an all-encompassing, working together, really, really focusing on doing what's best for the people in order to focus on what's going to be best for the entire state in the next 10 to 15 years. The next 7 to 10 years is done. The next 7 to 10 years is done. California is going to be trash for the next 7 to 10 years. The thing that you would be working on today is what's going to happen 20 years from now, 15 and 20 years from now. You know what else is killing California? It's not just the property taxes. It's not just the businesses leaving. It's the fact that they keep instituting and not really solving for, because they keep saying that they the greenest state, climate change. Well, they gather a lot of their taxes off of tax and oil that continues to be sold throughout the state. So it's a complex area. You got to go through every single nook and cranny to see where all of your finances is coming through. You can't keep depending on the federal government. They generate enough money, they just don't know where to deploy it. So that's just my opinion in a nutshell. All right.